We did try and do, the usual thing of recording our own gameplay and giving you something cool to watch, but we ended up recording something that was playing in 10 frames per second at worst.
And it wasn't syncing up at all. We're going to be trying to do our first video game review on the channel. So and the first one is SUPERHOT. So it's the shooter where time moves as you do, and yeah, it's basically been labelled as one of the most innovative shooters of recent memory.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's an indie thing. It's crowdfunded.
Yeah.
So it's not big AAA game. I mean, the story mode takes what? I mean, I've heard people say 2 hours. Maybe we're crap. So let's generously say 4
or 5.
4 or 5. Yeah. As Jack said, the basic principle is time moves with you and also moves as fast as you do. So it ends up making a kind of strategic blend of like a shooter and a puzzle game.
Yeah.
When you're engaged in like a firefight, you would have to like plan each move carefully because a single bullet is enough to take you out.
Yeah.
You can't. You're not like what's the term? Like a meat bag, a bullet sponge, whatever it is, a meat shield. That's it. You one shot, you're out. So it's very much about perfectly executing each move to do it.
Yeah, I mean, we said
flawlessly.
Like even so much as like when you shoot a gun, the recoil moves you. So when you shoot the gun, that's a bit of your time gone, and then also in the time that it takes to reload, you've got to strategize for dodging bullets and everything like that. And it does become. Yeah, I said it's the closest that you could come to a puzzle shooter.
Yeah, exactly.
You could possibly get.
It feels a little bit. We made this comparison before. It feels a bit like Portal in the sense that it's an indie game. It's got that very clean kind of visual style, and that it's basically a sort of puzzle game that's all based around a single mechanic that you then just learn to use in different ways.
I think it utilised it as best as it could.
I mean, the thing we were talking about it being however long it is. If it was any longer.
Yeah, it would be boring, I think.
Yeah. It's as long as it should be, I think.
Definitely. It's not a game that you play for hours upon hours at a time. It's a game that you dip into, then you come back later on, yeah.
But yeah, it is entirely based around its mechanic. It's got a weird visual style where everything's like the people are red. They look a bit like, I was saying to you, they look a bit like the people from the opening credits of Casino Royale.
Yeah.
That he's shooting.
Yeah, they're all like built out of vectors. I mean, it doesn't feel like they've cheapened out. Like, it just feels like that's the style.
Yeah, it is definitely just
rather
style.
Than just the fact. Oh, obviously, it probably saved the company a lot of money than modelling people like realistically.
It's just minimalist
people,
style. Yeah. Whilst its aesthetics are kind of interesting, it is very much based around the mechanic. The mechanic is what sells it.
Yeah, and it sells it well, I think.
Yeah, and there's enough variety there because there's only like 3 guns, but each one has a very distinct, different purpose. It's not like they're just loading you with, like, say, something in Call of Duty. You just get loaded with guns that basically are the same,
like
with slightly different
stats. Yeah,
it's like here you got a pistol, you got a machine gun, you got a shotgun, but each one has a totally different purpose. The shotgun spreads out, but then you only get 2 shots with it. The machine gun, you can fire a lot, but it means that time is moving almost at real time.
Yeah.
So you lose the kind of control that you would have with, say, a pistol. So it feels very much like each weapon has its own purpose, and you don't need any others. And there's a few little cool little things that they add, like the ability to throw stuff.
Yeah, to kind of like disarm, or if anything, you can use it to actually block bullets if you're really desperate enough.
And that's nice. That's cool, and you can like shoot other bullets out of the air.
Yeah,
that's a cool thing. And then there's this ability called hot switching? And then at the end of each level, you'll get a kind of replay where you can watch how it happened in real time. Although it always feels a little slow and jerky.
Yeah, it definitely feels kind of junky. Like when you do it, like you kind of imagine, oh, if I saw this in real time, it'd look very cool.
I'd look like a proper badass.
Like Days of Future Past. Something like that. But then you get it, and it's just kind of like, oh, okay, but it doesn't look as impressive as you hoped.
No, I agree. And then there is an editing function. It goes for this whole meta thing, which normally is something I quite like, but here it felt a little confusing and like it wasn't as clever as it needed to be to pull off a whole meta thing. Like you were saying, it felt like they played the Stanley Parable and wanted to just do the Stanley Parable.
Because it's hard to build a story around just a mechanic of the game.
Probably like shouldn't
Portal,
have bothered.
Like, back to Portal, again, you're trapped, you've got to do experiments there, and then eventually you break out. For this one, it's kind of similar in that you're kind of trapped in a machine, and then it's all built around the idea of the whole game setup is based like you're on an 80s computer, which is kind of fun at first, like it's a nice thing, and then it gets kind of it's annoying.
Yeah, it just keeps going on, and some of the breaks in gameplay get really annoying. And when we said it's all about the mechanic, you kind of just want to keep doing these different scenarios with the shooting, but it keeps stopping you, and you're like, just let me do it.
At the beginning, it feels kind of new, and it feels kind of interesting if it went somewhere, but the fact that it doesn't, and it's just a buffer between levels, basically.
The other criticism that we had was, like, it's a hard game, and I would concede that at least 60% of the time that I died, it was my fault. Yeah. But there were times where I really did feel like, no, that wasn't me. That was unfair. There were just like times maybe where someone would shoot through a wall, where your character would involuntarily just sort of go off to the left, and you'd be like, I didn't do that.
Or sometimes randomly spawning, like some characters would be in different... I mean, they change where they're spawned every single time, like slightly different, which is nice because it means that it's not... With a game like this, could easily become very repetitive and like you're learning what to do rather than playing it properly. But with this one, it kind of felt like they'd spawn right up next to you, so you had no chance to fight back or something like that.
Another thing that bothered me particularly was sometimes I couldn't tell when a bullet was going to hit me and when it was just going to miss me.
Yeah.
Because it frequently looks like that bullet is nowhere near where I imagine my body is, and then, oh, no, it was, and I'm dead. With it being so... like, single shot, you're out. That's really annoying.
Your hitbox is way different than what you imagine. Like, the camera's almost like in the person's neck.
Yeah.
Because you can have a bullet that looks like it's going to go over you, and then you suddenly fall over dead.
Oh, yeah, okay, I'm dead. Overall, it's a neat little idea, and there's a lot of content, because afterwards you unlock things like endless mode and the katana.
And they're fun to do. The katana mode was almost easier.
I enjoyed the katana mode more than the actual game itself.
Yeah.
Because I really liked using the katana. It's really satisfying to cut them in half and watch in slow motion, watch them like be cut in half. And even though it has just this one basic idea, it does add some variety here and there. There's like the bits with the trains and the elevators where it kind of puts you in different scenarios with it that kind of work to make it not samey.
Yeah.
So it's a good idea that is executed well, but I don't really think it's not 5-star amazing. It's not something that it's just a cool idea done well.
It's the kind of game where if they brought out DLC or like expansion packs, like I'd actually be happy with it. Like just because it's the kind of thing that you play it for the first time, you complete it, then you leave it, and then if they were bringing something else to it, like it wouldn't need a whole extra game. It could just be like another couple levels, and it'd be enough to bring you back. You have more fun with it, and then go away again.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. I definitely.
Yeah, it's fun. But if we're going to use the Portal comparison again, and I don't want to keep going on the Portal thing, because it's not like that similar.
It's not.
But it has like a similar kind of feel in the sense that it is an indie game built around one core idea that is quite different and interesting. It's not going to be the next Portal. It's just fun. It's just solid fun. So I would give it an 8.
Yeah, I'd say an 8. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because it's fun, but with flaws.